What if I told you that the quietest guy in the room, the one everyone ignored, became the one no one could defeat? This isn't just another story. It's a powerful reminder that practice, not talent, builds champions. Today, you'll hear the story of Rehan, the silent fighter who trained when no one watched and proved everyone wrong. Let's dive in. In a dusty neighborhood tucked away from the city lights, there was a small boxing gym. Rusty equipment, cracked mirrors, and a ring held together by old ropes and duct tape. It wasn't glamorous, but for those who trained there, it was a temple of dreams. One rainy evening, a boy walked into the gym. Skinny, awkward, no entourage, no name anyone recognized. His name was Rehan. The coach, a grizzled old man with a crooked nose and wise eyes, looked at him and asked, "What brings you here, kid?" Rehan said quietly, "I want to fight." The room fell silent, then erupted with laughter. Fighters twice his size smirked. One said, "You sure you're in the right place? You look like you got lost on the way to the library." Rehan didn't react. He simply stepped onto the mat and waited. That first sparring session was brutal. Rehan got knocked down in less than 30 seconds. He bled, he gasped, but he stood back up. Again and again. The coach noticed something. Rehan didn't have skill, but he had something rare, the refusal to stay down. While others came for 2 hours and left, Rehan stayed. While the gym lights flickered off, Rehan practiced alone in the shadows. He didn't post on social media. He didn't talk big. He just trained, day by day, hour by hour, one punch at a time. He studied technique obsessively, practiced the jab until his knuckles were raw, worked on footwork with stones tied to his ankles, watched slow-motion replays of fights late into the night on a cracked phone screen. People mocked him for being too serious, but he didn't care. He wasn't training for attention. He was training for war. One night, the coach found him in the ring at 1 a.m., soaked in sweat, throwing punches in the dark. The coach asked, "Why are you still here?" Rehan paused, looked at him, and said, "Because I promised myself the next time someone hits me, I'll be ready." 6 months later, a local underdog tournament was announced. Fighters from across the city would compete. The prize wasn't money. It was respect, a shot at being noticed, being remembered. Rehan signed up. People laughed again. "You? In a tournament? This isn't training camp. This is the real deal." But the coach had seen what no one else did. A fighter had been forged, quietly, relentlessly. Fight night. Round 1. Rehan entered the ring. His opponent was a favorite, muscular, loud, confident. The bell rang. The crowd expected a knockout, and they got one. But it wasn't Rehan on the floor. With precise timing and clean technique, Rehan dodged a right hook and landed a counterpunch to the jaw. Boom. Down. The room fell silent. Round after round, Rehan dismantled his opponents. Calm, tactical. Every move seemed calculated, like he had already seen the fight play out before it began. By the finals, the crowd wasn't laughing anymore. They were chanting his name. The final fight. The champion was undefeated. A street fighter turned pro. Fast, vicious. People whispered, "Rehan's streak ends here." But as Rehan stood across the ring, there was no fear in his eyes. Only stillness. The stillness of someone who had already fought 1,000 battles, alone in silence. The bell rang. For 2 rounds, it was war. A storm of punches, counters, and footwork. Then, in the 3rd round, the champ charged with a wild uppercut. Rehan ducked, slid in. 1. Clean. Uppercut. Perfect timing. The champion fell. Knockout. The crowd erupted. The silent fighter had conquered the noise. After the match, reporters rushed in. Cameras flashed. Microphones were shoved in his face. One journalist asked, "Rehan, how did you do it? You came out of nowhere. What's your secret?" Rehan looked at the crowd and said, "There's no secret, just practice. Quiet, painful, daily practice. When no one was watching, I was watching every mistake. When everyone doubted me, I was sharpening my skills in silence. I didn't win today. I earned this years ago, when no one believed in me, not even myself." That's the power of practice. 1 year later, Rehan became a national figure, not because he talked big, not because he chased fame, but because he became a symbol for every kid who wasn't born strong, rich, or gifted. A symbol of what happens when you commit, not for a week, not for a month, but every single day. He started a foundation to support underdog fighters. On its wall was a quote, etched in steel, "Train in silence. Let your fists speak." Final moral: you don't have to be born great. You don't need permission. You need practice. Not the kind you do when it's easy. The kind you do when no one believes in you, when you're tired, when you're broken. Because real power isn't loud. It's built quietly, in empty rooms, under flickering lights, one rep at a time. If this story inspired you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs it, and don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that fuel your fire. Until next time, keep grinding in silence. Your moment is coming.